guys, my name's Chris and today we're going to talk about butt stuff.
Hey bro, funny question. Do you have tight hip flexors? Hey cuzzy, yeah I do, eh? And so is my mate. You know, like Psoas, like the front of your hip.
Moving on. Sound hip mechanics are key to squatting, deadlifting, sprinting, and just generally functioning throughout everyday life. So let me take you through a couple gems that are sure to, one, lift your booty game, and the second, increase athletic performance and hip dysfunction. The first is the hip thrust, or the barbell hip thrust in this case, which I believe should be the foundation of any glute building program and should be included in most posterior minded programs as well. Quite simply, they yield the biggest potential for progressive overload of this region and the biggest range of motion through the hip whilst in knee flexion. And through different variations, you can also achieve hip abduction simultaneously. In short, contains all the major functions of the hip whilst also giving you the greatest potential for gluteal recruitment and growth of that peach. So when performing this exercise, we want to have our shoulder blades perched up on top of the bench. You'll notice my eyes look straight ahead and it's almost as if my chest upwards is frozen like a statue and the movement's coming from below. Also want to make sure that your lumbar spine is not arched or extended, particularly during the contraction. A slight posterior pelvic tilt will serve your gluteal recruitment and your spine health a lot better. If you didn't quite understand that, then unfortunately you're not quite ready to throw a barbell on and perform this exercise. But don't fret, there's always regressions to every exercise, and please DM me for some free tips to help you build up to that stage. Number 2, so the supine banded march with added glute bridge, don't worry too much about the name, it's a bit of a mouthful, is going to be working the hip flexors in a deep contraction whilst also working the opposing glute isometrically. So let's break that down. The resistance band basically forces the hip to resist the tension in a deep contracted state in full hip flexion, where primarily is the weakest point. This is a progression from the regular banded march, where supine on our back rather than standing up, and we have our heel up on the bench in like a single leg glute bridge position to engage the glute isometrically, meaning we're holding up in that position under load. Note the knee flexion there also. I will add, these are a lot easier to perform with a smaller resistance band, like a booty band, I guess, where you just loop it around the foot that is perched up on the bench and then around the knee that is flexing. You'll find it's a lot easier to maintain the position and perform this exercise properly. Anyway, I really hope this has been of help to some of you, and perhaps you can take something away from this video and go and implement it into your training. If you have any questions about this video and any of the exercises performed, please drop a comment below or DM me, give it a like, a share, you know the drill. And anyway, see you next time.